Well, President Trump has fired Secretary of Defense Mark Esper. The president announced the termination on Twitter. Let's get more of this now from Atiba Madyun. He's the president and founder of research organization Party Politics US. Thank you so much for coming on this program, Atiba.
Thank you.
Let me just start. As the projected president, Joe Biden has moved very quickly to assemble a coronavirus advisory board. What do you make of this?
Well, we're facing a pandemic, and if you look at the numbers, our country is being affected far worse than a lot of other countries because of ineffective or appropriate means of requiring us to wear masks, which is what the president-elect stated today in his address in appointing this task force. And so, you know, we're faced with something. I mean, we have a major holiday that's coming up called Thanksgiving, and Americans around the country, unfortunately, aren't going to be able to get together with their families the way that we have in the past, or will be looking at empty seats at their dining room tables because of family members who they've lost because of this this pandemic. So it's a serious thing, and I think that the president-elect, in terms of on this for many of us as Americans.
Atiba, now, while the transition work is ongoing, the sitting president, Donald Trump, refuses to concede defeat and is seeking a variety of legal challenges. And as we just mentioned, he's trying to make changes to his cabinet with the firing of Defense Secretary Mark Esper. How do you see all of this ending?
I don't know how it's going to end. I know that a lot of us are looking forward to January 20th, 2021, which is when we are normally accustomed to having a peaceful transfer of power from one president to the next. Everything about this administration has been different. Every day is different. So the firing of the Secretary Esper, it kind of goes back to some things that were happening back in April, I think, where the president wanted to see this defense secretary to deploy the military on our United States streets, which has basically been something that has not happened. And so there's just a lot of things that, you know, going on. I think what most of us, 74 million Americans, really want to do is say we need to focus on how we're going to address the pandemic, how we're going to move past this pandemic, and how we're going to get back to some sort of sense of normalcy in terms of pre-virus as well as maybe this administration, because there's just a lot of divisiveness that has occurred in this country, and a lot of it has come because of the rhetoric and the things that have come out from this administration.
You mentioned January 20th, of course, that's Inauguration Day. Do you think President Trump will formally accept that he lost before then? I mean, do you think we will see that customary concession speech that every loser before has so graciously given?
Unfortunately, concession speech, I don't believe so. And everything that we're seeing right now appears that the president is not going to concede. He has his attorneys that are preparing to file lawsuits, if they haven't already, in states where he lost, to try to discredit the ballots that 74 million Americans around this country voted and cast their ballots for president, and voted overwhelmingly from a majority standpoint to change the direction of this administration.
Atiba, Joe Biden inherits a nation in turmoil, a raging pandemic, deep political divisions. During his victory speech, he promised a path of healing to bring people together. That appears a Herculean task, wouldn't you say?
It is, and it's something that it's not one person that can fix it. It's going to have to be a whole. I think it's going to have to take the whole country, but I think that also the world is looking at us. I've received so many text messages from friends in other countries who were watching our election returns, and they were watching this like up late at night, even staying up late on Saturday night to hear President-elect Biden's speech. You know, what happens in the United States impacts all of us globally. We're looking at right now at our stock market, which is pretty bullish today because of the announcement of a vaccine from Pfizer. But I think that when you look at overall, what is the instability, perhaps, of what happens with whether or not the president issues a concession or whether or not he helps along in terms of this peaceful process, that's all going to have an impact on us, not just in the United States, but globally.
Right. Interesting days ahead. Atiba Madyun, thank you so much for your insight.